Exactly. And the majority of the people that you see with MRSA, they have it somewhere along their face area or their neck area because they've either touched something that's had it on it and automatically they've rubbed their face or their neck. So it uses good practice to keep our hands clean and to use our sanitizers.
Right, and to not touch your T-zone, which is your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. That's the other thing that we teach children, stay away from the T-zone because that's where most of your infections are going to enter your body, is through the mucous membranes, which is your eyes, your nose, or your mouth.
Exactly. What if somebody does have it in their eyes? What kind of treatment can you get for that?
There again, there are some ophthalmic ointments that can be used. Ophthalmologist could also recommend, certain types of treatment. So there's still several different types of antibiotics that can be used to treat this.
Okay, and now that we're moving into the fall season and the winter times, it seems like the flu outbreaks gradually increase at this time of the year.
Usually October through May is when we see the flu, what we call the typical flu season, to start. So most of your health departments, your pharmacies will have the flu vaccine, and you'll see that advertised on some of their little marquees and things at the pharmacy. And a lot of people don't realize that pharmacists are actually able to give vaccinations to people too, so you can go to your local pharmacies to get your seasonal flu vaccine.
What are other ways that people can protect themselves? Like if they're around people that's got the flu and they're coughing and that bacteria is getting in the air, how can they protect themselves?
Well, there again, you need to wash your hands, and if you don't have access to soap and water, to use a hand sanitizer. You also need to learn to not cough into your hands. You need to cough into your elbow, because your hands, there again, you're going to be touching everything like your cell phones and things like that. Right. That's another area that can be contaminated. So you need to have those little sanitizers that you can use to wipe off your cell phones too.
Is most of the flus or colds, or even like the common cold, is most of it airborne? Like if somebody's sneezing and you just breathe in the air, can you?
Those are little droplets, and if you've ever seen a person sneeze, there's millions of those little droplets that go out into the air. And so it's real easy to pick up.
So that's good to use Lysol or products like that purifies the air,
well,
germs.
Right, and then on your surfaces or whatever, we laugh at church because a lot of times people shake hands and stuff, and that's one of the things that you want to be friendly and stuff. But a lot of times during flu season we go to the hand bump so that you're not actually touching other people's hands and stuff.
Well, it's better to be safe than sorry. A lot of people don't realize the flu or pneumonia. A lot of people get pneumonia, double pneumonia, things that enter into their system, and if it's not properly treated, they can die.
That is correct, right.
And it's good to, I'd say, take your vitamins and eat healthy.
Right. The main thing is you want to wash your hands. Wash
your hands. Now that is our new motto for today. Wash your hands. Okay. And let's talk about all these other infections and airborne things like this. What about mosquitoes in the West Nile? That's starting to break out.
We had a very, very, very mild winter this year, and so we saw an increase in our insect population. So the mosquito is these are what we call vector-borne diseases. So they're carried by another type of carrier. In this case, the mosquito is the carrier for West Nile. So because we had a mild winter, we had a lot more mosquitoes. Well, West Nile is actually a virus that comes from the bird population. So you'll have a mosquito that buzzes over and bites a bird that's infected with this virus. And so when it takes a blood meal, then it carries that up into its little proboscis. And so when he looks at you and he thinks, aha, I have another blood meal. So he runs over and bites you. He injects, or she, it's a female mosquito that actually does the biting, injects that virus into your system, and eventually you can become ill with it.
Yeah. This is a conversation in my mind. What about if somebody had MRSA? could they contract it that way, like from a mosquito bite?
No, no. Viruses are usually the ones that are actually transmitted with a vector-borne type of thing. MRSA is a bacteria. So there again, you can get that from skin-to-skin contact,
Right.
but with viruses, it's usually an injected type of thing. Or with the common cold, you know, it's entered through your body, through your mucous membranes, breathing it in or through your mouth or into your eyes.
And what a bad misconception for people. They think, well, I can treat myself, you know, put a little rubbing alcohol on it and things like that. But they don't realize it's underneath the tissue, it's underneath the surface, and you have to professionally have it treated.
Right. And sometimes those have to be open and drained. You know, those lesions do. So, yeah.
Because I've seen people here recently where it has spread, like it started like an eggshell on their back, and now their whole back is covered with it. You know, it's bad.
Yes, and it can get, like I said, if it's not treated and treated properly, it can become systemic, which actually gets into the bloodstream and can be very detrimental at that point.
And anywhere that it drains, and if you touch it, you're going to contract it.
Right, you can contaminate yourself that way.
So that's why it's good to, like when we go into public shopping centers, to make sure the buggy's clean, use a
Right.
little thing clean.
Yep.